Well, a new documentary about the life and career of the late Chris Farley premieres in Madison this weekend.
I Am Chris Farley follows Chris's life from his roots in Madison to his superstardom on Saturday Night Live. I talked to Chris's brother Tom about the love and laughter Chris brought to their lives.
Make like an egg and beat it. I haven't had sex with a woman. Frickin' God!
He's been gone 18 years, but Chris Farley is still missed.
Success in show business does not always create the best version of people.
And also thinking that you have the physical capacity to handle it. You know, you may think that you can handle it.
It's not gonna change me. We're the same old Chris. Yeah. Nothing's gonna happen.
Some of the biggest laughs in 40 years of Saturday Night Live have their origin in the Farley family photo album.
You can point to stuff and you know, growing up here in Madison and, you know, going to high school and college, you know, his friends talk about, like, it was, you know, when you step back and look at it from their eyes now, it just seems so obvious. Of course, this guy was going to be, you know, this knucklehead.
Tom Farley wrote a best-selling book about his little brother. Tom will see the documentary for the first time on the big screen. Is it going to be bittersweet, do you think?
Well, you know, here's the thing about Chris, and I've said this for years. With Chris, I get to share the stories and my grief and everything. I mean, 17 years later, people are still coming up to me, oh, your brother was so funny. Now, my dad died a year after Chris. The loss of my dad is more like everyone else's loss in the family, is after 6 months, nobody asks anymore. But with Chris, 17 years, I'm still doing that. And that's what this movie is going to be all about, these people sharing these memories and the good, that, you know, and some of the, you know, sad ones, but mostly just like, wow, remember when he did this?
You remember when you were with the Beatles?
Chris Farley was born in Madison in 1964, the third of Tom and Marianne Farley's 5 children. When you were kids, did he express a desire to do that?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, absolutely. I just didn't think it was funny. And when my friends would laugh, I would stop laughing at my brother. It's, you know, he's annoying. But he was from day one.
Chris graduated from Edgewood High School and Marquette University. After getting his comedy start in Chicago, Chris joined the cast of SNL in 1990. What's your favorite skit of his?
There were different things. I love Matt because he puts, you know, there's a lot of my dad in it.
Now you kids are probably asking yourselves, hey, Matt, how can we get back on the right track?
I also loved the Chippendales dancer. And it also went back to, you know, as I said, you know, Chris dancing in front of all the aunts and uncles. I mean, you know, Chris doing that dance was, you know, since he was this big.
Were a lot of his skits autobiographical?
Yes. Well, Tommy Boy was all about, you know, a lot of it was, you know, right after he graduated from Marquette, he worked for my dad. My dad was an asphalt salesman.
Oh, son of a...
He had that down perfectly. I mean, it's like everything with Chris. You know, he was get paid. You call it acting. He was never acting. He was just being himself.
Sadly, after a long battle with addiction, in 1997, at the age of 33, Chris died of a drug overdose. He would have been 51 today.
Yeah.
What do you think, do you ever think about what his life would have been like? Do you think he would have been married and had kids? Did he ever express that?
That's the scary thing. You know, that's the one thing we luckily avoided, Chris being married.
What do you miss the most about him?
When we got older, you know, and we would come home to Madison for a football game or something like that, and Chris would come in the door and just give you this big bear hug. I mean, I miss that more than anything. If I could just have one of those, I'd be happy for life.
Tom runs the Chris Farley Foundation, a nonprofit organization started by his family to promote drug and alcohol awareness. One of the highlights of Saturday's premiere will be an appearance by the real Matt Foley, Chris's inspiration for his iconic motivational speaker. And Mayor Paul Soglin will also be there to officially declare Monday, August 10th, Chris Farley Day in Madison. The Madison premiere of the documentary I Am Chris Farley is Saturday, August 8th. The show begins at 7 o'clock at the Orpheum Theater on State Street. Tickets are $12, and the documentary will also air on Spike TV on Monday, August 10th.
I have to watch that.
It's so bittersweet, isn't it? And there's a lot of, Tom and Chris are very similar. Tom is very funny in his own right as well. You can tell. He got the gene. Yeah.
Those bright stars, sometimes they burn fast.
I know. It makes you miss him even more, doesn't it? Yeah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.